The podcast you are about to listen to contains at least one of the following: strong language, disturbing topics, abusive opinions, generally things that aren't appropriate for little kids or overly sensitive people. So, if any of that stuff's going to get your nose out of joint, this is your chance to turn it off.
Feelings don't matter, so brace yourself tight. He'll lay it down heavy, he'll light up the night. No sugar-coated tales, just cold hard facts. In the realm of opinions, there's no turning back. Listen closer, just walk away. But Aaron had to say it, come what may. Here comes Aaron with the truth untold. No holding back, watch the truth unfold. On the podcast, airways feel the righteous sting. You either take it in or let the silence ring.
Hey, everybody, welcome to take two of I Had to Say It for the night. So, we're going to start out again. And since I hit the first one really spot on, I know I'm going to fuck it up this time. So we're going to say to Iceman, Jason, Javier, Fitz McShane, El Jefe, El Devlin, El Morte, to the guys from the Weather Report, to Billy G, to Walt from the B-Raw Podcast, to Kate, the Duchess of New Jersey, to Boomer Bob, to George Fonts of the World Blaze Podcast, and to our newest supporter, Josh. Thank you guys for the continued support. It means the world to me. You are smarter, better looking, and more fun to be around than the average motherfucker, and I really appreciate the fact that you guys continually tune in for this nonsense. Now, I was saying a bunch of nice things about how, I usually run, if you watch the live streams, I run a splash panel before I actually sit down and fire everything up, because it gives me a few seconds to set everything up and make sure I'm ready and make sure things are going to be okay. And I had some new opening music here, compliments of Cody, frequent guest and friend of the show, who it's a Delta blues style I Had to Say It jam. I really dig it. I'm going to stick it in somewhere on the audio recording. And so yeah, that's something that you're either going to have to listen to the audio version, or I'll probably do it again during the splash screen next week too, because I dig it and it's going to keep getting played until I am no longer amused, or until somebody else makes me something else, and then I'll just go into a rotation, which would be kind of fun. So anybody that's out there that enjoys making music, whether it be the old-fashioned way or using AI, if you want to contribute something to the songs, shoot it over to me. I will listen to it to make sure it's not absolute ass, and if I approve of it, it will go into the rotation as something that's going to get shown regularly on the show. I'm going to have a sip of water out of my lovely Dubby shaker. Now, for those of you that may not know, and this was not a planned plug, this was just I'm thirsty and I got something caught in my throat. Now, Dubby is a powdered energy drink mix for anybody who's not familiar with it. Anybody who's in the social media creation space has probably seen one of their ads pop up in one of your feeds. And even if you're not, you've probably seen it somewhere. They do like, we will sponsor anybody, basically. And their version of sponsorship is more of a partnership, really. They give you a code that you can use on their website. And if people go to their website and buy their energy drink powders, you get a kickback on it, or like a percentage. I think it's like 1 or 2% or whatever. And I signed up for their partnership program, because why the hell not? And I was like, okay, give me some samples, because I'm not plugging your shit unless I find out whether or not I like it. And since this turned into an unscheduled, unplanned review, full disclosure, it's not bad. Not my particular thing. If you're into that sort of stuff, I mean, it's, no artificial colors, no minimal ingredients, blah, blah, blah. They have hydration flavors, which I actually did kind of dig. They were very refreshing. But in terms of the energy drink side of things, not really. I'm going to stick to my my Echelons and my Omnis, because those are my preferred. Those I know are clean label, very minimal ingredients, and nothing that's not an active ingredient. So, and I prefer them, to be honest. It's nothing against the W powdered mixes. It's just I like the flavors better. That's that's what it boils down to. I mean, granted, I haven't had all of the W flavors, and I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to besmirch them. I like the idea that they'll work with fucking anybody. I like the idea that they don't set thresholds for potential earning for people trying to break into the content creation scene that think they need a sponsor. I think it's a cool idea behind what they're doing. However, I'm not going to give massive endorsements for my, couple hundred views that this episode will get, that are going to be go download, use my code. And the code exists. If you do want to go try the stuff out, you get like 10% off, I think, or something like that. I Had to Say It. Real simple. But on the other hand, if you don't want to, I completely understand. I don't assume my audience is real big on the energy drink market. I said, completely unplanned plug for a product. I'm going to just kind of start getting into my notes here. And yeah, believe it or not, I do have notes today. I have a lot of time on my hands all of a sudden. And subsequently, I was able to focus some of that attention into at least pretending like I prepare these episodes and like I'm a semi professional podcaster after 5 years and 300 odd episodes and all the other fun little statistics. So, the big thing, obviously, to anybody who's not living under a fucking rock, and again, this is, for my non-American centric listeners, because I do have a few of them out there. The metrics don't lie. That 1/2 of 1% that listen to me in Seneca would probably really get tired of me talking about American shit. But you're in Seneca. I don't know what happens there. But over the course of the weekend, and now after another week of the usual bullshit grandstandery tomfoolery, and the midterm elections on the 4th last week, nothing really earth shattering happened. Blue areas stayed blue. Nothing really changed. Californians shot themselves square in the dick by passing Prop 50, mostly because they're widely uneducated fucktards who don't seem to realize that they were literally handing more power to the government. They think they're doing it because I mean it's a case of TDS on a statewide scale. These motherfuckers are voting against their own long-term interest in the name of sticking it to the fucking Cheeto. Now, do with that what you will. And everybody knows I'm not some massive, Donald Trump ass kisser. I mean, I like some of what he does. I don't like some of what he does. I think the way he goes about a lot of things are fucking retarded. And realistically, at the end of the day, that rules out a lot of people on the MAGA side of things that think I'm fucking, I'm disloyal, whatever. And the thing is, I never claimed this sycophantic loyalty to the Cheeto. I voted for him last election. I mean, I had my reasons as to why I did. Definitely better than camel toe. I will say that until they fucking put me in the ground. But at the same time, I don't think the sun shines out of the guy's ass. And while I don't think he's that fucking phenomenal, I also am not going to do things that are against my own best interest in the name of spiting him, which seems to be the biggest faction of the leftist policy at this point is fuck Trump. Now, when you are doing things more out of spite than out of logic or self-interest, I think you're a retard. I don't have any respect or any need to be nice to you at that point. So I'm going to talk about the fucking retards in California that passed Prop 50. Now, Prop 50, for anyone who's kind of unclear on the subject, whether it's because you don't live in California, so you subsequently don't care, or you just don't pay attention to politics, or it's you don't pay attention to politics at scale, you only worry about local shit, whatever your reason may be. If you're unfamiliar with the idea, Prop 50 was a ballot movement on California's midterm ballots to eliminate a independent committee that handled the districting in California. So California, Gavin Newsom's whole platform was he was doing this in response to Texas redistricting. Now the Texas redistrict was actually because they did not do redistricting a couple of years ago when they were supposed to. So it was really to amend something that was done wrong in the first place. And when they did the redistricting, they redistricted it and like got rid of a couple of Democrat seats, added a couple of Republican seats. And so this was Gavin Newsom's whole thing is like, we need to redistrict because we need to fight back against what Trump's doing in Texas. And as per usual, he can't address any of the massive failures going on in his own fucking state. He has to make it about Trump bad, Orange Man bad. Anybody who's trying to do something that may benefit Orange Man is also bad by association. And the retards in California sopped it up. And they all voted no on Prop 50. Now, there's all kinds of improprieties that could be tied back to this situation as well. The fact that if you voted no on your mail-in ballot on Prop 50, it showed in a window punched in the fucking envelope. So yeah, nothing suspicious about that at all. There's no chance for improprieties there. Like no way people in the post office are going to be fucking getting rid of the fucking ballots that go against Prop 50. No way that would never happen. And ultimately, at the end of the day, Prop 50 passed. What it did was it got rid of the independent committee that handled the California redistricting and drawing the district maps in California and decided the government's going to do it instead. And they made a great big show of saying, like, well, look, this whole big section here is still red, but we're turning this part more blue. They added an additional like 5 congressional seats to the left's tally at this point, where because the big area that is red on that district is literally broken up into like the desert. There's nothing fucking there. It's the mountains. There's nothing fucking there. So it's a big swatch of red with a very minimal body count. So the actual representation numbers are minuscule. And if you look at the last presidential election, California was about 46% voted for Trump. So you can extrapolate from that that California has roughly almost 50% of its citizens being Republican, with something like 2.5% representation out of the fucking state after the districts are redrawn. So, in the name of democracy and preserving American democracy and fighting the dictator in the fucking in Washington D.C., they eliminated the representation for approximately 46% of the state. So and somehow in their minds they're still the good guys. They're still fighting the good fight. They're still doing things in the name of preserving democracy without the slightest hint of irony or hypocrisy, because none of them possess the intellect to understand they're being hypocritical fuckweasels. So that happened last week. I was very disappointed that Mikey Sherrill won New Jersey, that worthless sack of fucking cunt. I can't stand her for a plethora of reasons, not the least of which being that my friends that live in New Jersey think she fucking sucks. And they're people whose opinions I respect, and subsequently, because of that, I think she sucks. I mean, I also think she sucks because of a lot of other reasons, like the fact that she's trying to tout that she was a CIA asset as one of a positive. I put that fucking yeah, no, spooks don't belong anywhere near the fucking wheels of power. And I don't like that. But I could go off on a tear about that for a while. But yeah, so basically, the blue states in the midterm election stayed blue. Nothing flipped. A couple of them came really close. Scott Pressler was out there killing himself. If you don't know who he is, he's a gay Republican who goes out there and canvasses to try and make sure people register Republican and vote Republican. And he's out there already. They're talking about lawsuits because of all kinds of improprieties, because voting machines in heavily red areas were down in New Jersey. There were a bunch of anybody that was listed as independent had to do a provisional ballot, which God knows those things never have issues with those. So yeah, there were all kinds of fucking improprieties. I'm still at the point where I firmly believe the left can't win without fucking cheating. So I mean, I can't prove it. I don't know it. People are going to say I'm a conspiracy theorist. People are going to say that my fucking ball cap here is lined with fucking aluminum foil to keep the crazy out of my brain. But yeah, so that happened in the last election. And in the course of the basically maintenance of the status quo and California doing what California does, which is being utterly full of shit and full of retards. Sorry, Bruce. I love you. You're in the minority though. Yeah, your state is the land of fruit and nuts, and I really wish you'd move to a sane state. Uh, don't come to Illinois. I mean, not that I wouldn't love to have you as a neighbor, but you don't want to fucking live here. It's got all the problems of California with none of the fucking beautiful country. Back to what I was trying to say before I start distracting myself. So, in the course of this maintenance of the status quo of the blue states staying blue, you get all the yammering fucking leftist retards, the usual suspects, the fucking Dollar Tree Obama, fucking AOC, and fucking Bernie, and fucking Chuckles Schumer, and fucking Hiawatha, and Pelosi. And they all come out and they start trying to talk about how they got a blue wave, how it was a mandate from the people that they continue to fight in the name of democracy to fight off Trump. There was nothing wavy about this. The turnouts were typical of a midterm election. Nobody goes out for fucking midterm elections. And I'm not saying nobody, but compared to scale, unless there is a major issue, people don't turn up for fucking midterms. They don't. It just doesn't happen. Republicans didn't turn out in the numbers they should have. That's why New Jersey stayed blue. That's why, and Winsome Earl Sears, who was literally an African American woman who was actually born in I want to say it was Haiti, but anyway, yeah, literally everything that the left loves to talk about, except for she's conservative and she believes in gun rights and individual rights. And so, like, Obama's out there bad mouthing her. The left was campaigning against her, saying, trying to highlight the fact she was running against another woman. Um, so so it was, but they kept saying, "Oh, well, vote for this woman, vote for this woman." It's like they were completely ignoring the fact that there was a black immigrant woman running on the other side of the ticket when they were doing their campaign ads. It's like they don't even have the fucking wherewithal to adjust their fucking stupid, bigoted, phobic shit to accommodate who they're running against. It's like they have a script and they don't have the brains to deviate from it, and it's fucking frustrating as all hell. But well, actually, no, that's not frustrating. What's frustrating is these fucking retards that keep falling for it. And it's a sad state of affairs pretty much across the board. And then speaking of sad state of affairs pretty much across the board, that brings me to the election in New York, which was a national circus in a lot of ways. The right couldn't deliver on it. The fucking left, it showed you the future of the left. It showed you the future of the Democrat Party. The socialist branch of the Democrat Party has taken over, which is going to tie in more into what I have to say in a little bit here. But we're going to focus for the time being on the governor or the mayor elect of New York City is Zoran Mandami, the fucking Islamic fucking communist. I mean, he's an avowed socialist. He said, "Oh, we're not communists. I'm the Democratic Socialists of America." Da, 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 da. Now, there were all kinds of issues with that too. Like he was on the ballot like three fucking times. Partly because he was in there as, the Democrat candidate, and then he's on there as the Democratic Socialist candidate, and then he's on the left wing candidate, and a couple of, I mean, I saw pictures of the ballot online that people had taken and posted that were literally like, gee, there's a lot of confusing shit on this. And then everybody that was running against him was like, one box down in the corner or whatever, so on, so forth, et cetera, et al. And yeah, it was just again, lots of chances for impropriety, utterly fucking retarded. And this dumb son of a bitch ran on a platform of they're going to seize the means of productions, literally like bullshit straight out of the communist handbook. If we're going to fix rent prices, we're going to, if landlords can't meet up with all the accommodations that they're going to have to do to follow the laws we're going to put into place, we're going to seize their buildings there. And he's talking like there's not going to be slums anymore because everyone's going to, equality and rainbows and puppies and kittens and all kinds of other unrealistic bullshit, because that's all fucking commies have to sell. This guy is young, which to some people are like, now I'm not without a sense of irony that I'm about to bitch about somebody who's young and inexperienced holding up a political office, because I've spent a huge portion of this show's existence bitching about the fucking fossils that we have in DC. It's utterly contemptible garbage that we have fucking people that couldn't get hired as Walmart greeters holding the highest seats of office in this fucking country. If you have aged out of the fucking hello, here's your cart process, you should not be making policies that you will not be alive long enough to see the impact of said policies. I've said it. I believe it. I mean it with all my heart and fucking black ass soul. It's the truth. But I digress. Zohran Mandami, your typical socialist piece of shit who ran with the endorsements of Bernie Sanders and AOC, because Bernie is probably looking at him as just the next generation of the Bernie, because Bernie is also a socialist piece of shit who has never had any real world experience other than getting rich on the back of bitching about capitalism and telling people that they're getting fucked over because of people that have more than him. It's never him. It's always the people that have more than him. When he was just a fucking typical grade parasite, he was fucking bitching about the millionaires. As soon as he cracked that 9-figure value, he started bitching about the billionaires instead, because he's a petty, jealous little fucking troll. Then you got that glorified fucking bartender from New York running alongside of him going, yay, rah, rah, look at my tits. I'm going to turn into a torta any fucking day now. But in the meantime, you know what? We need to make sure billionaires pay their fair share. Yay! This casting call cunt bag in fucking AOC, who's out there flapping her fucking gums. She has the collective IQ of fucking pond scum, and she's out there and people are acting like she's the next fucking coming, and she's pathetic. I fucking can't stand her. Horse mouth sack of shit. But anyway, so it's utterly fucking retarded. And you have these fucking commie sacks of shit that are out there, and they say, okay, you know what? We're going to endorse this other commie fuck waffle. When he announced his candidacy, things already started moving in the background that are going to really impact the fuck out of this city. Now, one of the things that started happening, and a lot of this wasn't really disclosed and didn't come to light right away, but when he started polling showing he was the likely successor, when Kashi started betting him at like 79% odds to win, a lot of the financial institutions in New York quietly started filing paperwork to fucking relocate. Chase Bank, fucking Wells Fargo, the vast majority of Wall Street has filed paperwork to relocate out of New York City, to move their base of operations to Texas, to fucking Arizona, to a bunch of them are going to Florida. all of these industries are moving their home offices out of New York. They will not be doing business as New York based entities any longer, and subsequently not subject to this New York City taxes. Now, this is also happening where hundreds, if not more, if not thousands of people that are people of means that have been living in New York City, all they have to do is change their primary residence. They have to buy a property, and they're all in a position where they could buy a fucking shack in fucking Florida. And a lot of them have done this recently, where they all they have to do is say they spend like 51% of their time there, and they can claim residency out of state, and they are subsequently not subject to state taxes. And they don't have to, they're not, most of these really ultra wealthy people are not in a position where they have to like sell the building or sell the properties. So they can still maintain their New York City residence and find all kinds of loopholes and ways out of the tax situation that Mondami is going to need to fund any of the bullshit he ran on. Now, the free transportation, free public buses, free, state-run grocery stores, so people will be able to afford to eat again. Well, now there's all kinds of things about that are problematic, and people that are more well versed in economics than I am could definitely point these out to you, probably with much more accuracy than what I'm going to say. But I'm going to give you the Cliff Notes version of how this works. The state-sponsored grocery stores, which they've also tried talking about putting in place in Chicago too, and they're never going to fucking work because here's the thing about them. They will create more food deserts because mom and pop shops, even fucking chains, will not be able to compete against them because they are subsidized by the government, by our tax dollars. So they have no need to actually make a profit. They don't need to turn a profit because they will be subsidized by tax dollars, which means they will drive all the mom and pop shops, all the fucking chain grocery stores out of the fucking area because you can't compete with a business that doesn't need to fucking make money. I don't care what industry you are, whether it's groceries, whether it's producing something, whether it's fucking creating art, anything where the goal is not to turn a profit will always be able to drive out the things that have to make a profit to be sustainable. So what this is going to do is this is going to actually increase the amount of food deserts in New York City because the state is not going to be able to or the city is not going to be able to continue funding these projects because Kathy Hochul, the fucking shitbird governor of New York State, in a rare and unprecedented move of showing some fucking spine and actually doing something that makes sense, said we're not going to increase taxes across the state to fund your projects. We cannot give you money from the rest of the state. It would be economic suicide for us to implement policies across the state for the benefit of New York City alone. She didn't have the fucking stones to say that before the piece of shit got elected because frankly, she's a fucking piece of shit as well. She is a racist, bigoted, ignorant sack of fuck too. But she could also read which way the wind was blowing, and she wasn't about to torpedo this fucking fool until after he was in office because the general consensus among the retarded mob that backs these people was, oh, him the future, him good. Me personally, as much as I feel pain for the people who voted against us or who are, for lack of means, can't get the fuck out of New York City, even if they saw the writing on the fucking wall, part of me's happy it happened. I mean, and I'm happy it happened in the most visible place in the fucking country because it's going to turn. My big thing is if you voted for this asshole, you shouldn't be allowed to leave. You should have to stay and deal with the consequences of your fucking idiocracy. You should have to deal with the consequences of you being a fucking retard and buying the fucking pipe dream and the bullshit. And you know how I know these people bought the bullshit? Because immediately after the election results were announced, all of these brain dead, college educated white motherfuckers and the just out here celebrating, yay, he won, we're gonna see this, we're gonna get that, oh, they're gonna write off our college loans, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that, we're gonna get free transportation, they're gonna freeze the rent prices so I'm gonna be able to afford to get a house now that once all the millionaires leave and abandon their buildings. Now, it just shows how badly the educational system in this country is fucked. Because the people posting these videos legitimately believe that's how it's going to fucking work. The millionaires and billionaires are going to leave New York City in droves, and all of a sudden that's going to drive the housing market through the ground, and everyone will be able to afford to get a two-story brownstone walk up on the fucking east side of Brooklyn or wherever the fuck. I don't know geography in New York. I've been there fucking once. But, they're going to whatever nice fucking neighborhoods are there, they're all of a sudden going to all be available for people to just go help themselves to, because obviously when the millionaires leave, they're going to sell their properties at a fucking loss so some fucking barista can move into it. These delusional fucking retards legitimately think the empty promises of communism are going to work here for some fucking reason, even though they've been shown to fail in literally every other fucking country where they've been implemented anywhere ever. Because it's an philosophy and ideal based on a guy who was a fucking parasite his entire life. If you look into Karl Marx's whole life, he never had a job. He was a philosopher. He thought about things. He thought about how great it would be if this system worked. Meanwhile, he lived off of his wife and his friends. He borrowed money from everybody he knew. His kids died because he was too lazy to go out and get shit so he could take care of them. So they were living in poverty while he sat around and couch surfed and sponged off of his well to do friends because his parents cut him off because he was a lazy piece of shit. But you can't tell these stupid college kids that because they have an education and they're smart and they know more than you. They're smarter than you. They're better than you. And if you don't believe the fucking things their worthless fucking social parasite professors told them is how the world should really be working, you must be some inbred hillbilly redneck piece of shit who doesn't know how to think, because obviously you must be dumb. You didn't go to get a fucking college degree that doesn't pay fucking $18 an hour but costs you $270,000 to get it, and you're paying more interest on it than you actually have on principal, because you're going to be paying for that for the rest of your fucking life, because you're going to be a debt slave. So people can lie to you and tell you college forgiveness is something you deserve, because it's not fair that you had to spend all this money and take on an obscene amounts of debt as a young and impressionable individual who was bought the fucking lie that you didn't have to fucking, you shouldn't have to pay back loans you took because you didn't know any better. Meanwhile, it's the same fucking party will tell you that a fucking 18-month-old can determine they were born in the wrong fucking body. It's not that they have fucking, corrupt, horrible parents who just want to use their kids as fucking accessories for social points. It's that they know their truth, because at 18 months old, you really know the whole fucking world. You got everything in there. So, but yeah, so Mandami got elected. I really, like I said, I hope the fucking liberal retards who voted for him, I really hope like their parents cut them off and leave them in New York with no means, no resources, and they have to deal with the consequences of their fucking actions when that city turns into fucking Escape from New York. I wish we could build a wall around that fucking city and just watch it burn. I think this will be a very good object lesson for anybody with an IQ higher than fucking paint. So it is what it is. I think it had to happen just as a case of course correction for the direction this country was going at the time. Unfortunately, this also ties into the way the left is going at the time. As I've said repeatedly over the course of this show, if you go back to like late 90s, early 2000s, I would have been considered very liberal for most of my beliefs. My beliefs have really not changed all that fucking much in the interim. I mean, I was central but left leaning according to the standards of the time. My beliefs really haven't changed all that much. I, believe that if you're LGB and even logical, rational T, I don't judge you for it. I don't fucking care. It means absolutely nothing to me. I don't care about it. It's kind of like the typical joke libertarian thing that I want those gay fellas next door to be able to defend their pot plants with fucking machine guns. That's kind of my politics. That still is. It was my belief at 19. It's still my belief at fucking 47. Okay, just to bring up, this is where I get distracted when I start addressing notes in the chat. Yeah, no, Cody, you're right. One of the things that nobody really is talking about either is foreign-born voters actually were the reasons Zohan got elected more so than, because, I mean, he won the total popular vote, but out of the polling, it showed that like domestic born voters, he actually lost, and foreign born voters were the ones who tilted the scales in his favor. Now, he didn't lose overwhelmingly enough with domestic born citizens to offset the imported voters, but it was, without them, he would not have fucking won. Just long and the short of it. I really think the retards that are out there celebrating and cheering about this shit don't understand the way the real world works, which, again, a lot of young, stupid, college educated pieces of shit out there. And then to go back to a reoccurring theme in this show, The scourge of the American political landscape, as far as I'm concerned, liberal white women. Liberal white college educated bitches. These dumb cunts. I don't know how else I can put it to I can't think, and I know a lot of people don't like the C word. Oh, it hurts. I use it like a fucking British guy. It's just I pepper my speech with it. It's an accent word to me. It doesn't mean the same thing to me that it means to people that get overly offended by it. If you're one of those people, I'm sorry, but that's the way I fucking talk. These dumb bitches showing their own educated fucking ignorance, showing how smug and self-important they are. I saw probably, I don't know, a dozen reels, videos, whatever you want to call it, to say they're celebrating that Zoran won. Shira law will be implemented in fucking New York City. These dumb bitches do not understand the implications of Shira law. They don't understand. They're not going to get to make their TikTok videos under Shira law. They're not going to get to fucking go out in public or use their words or fucking, speak to a man or let their ankles be seen. These dumb cunts have no idea what they're talking about, but one of their college professors told them that that might be a good thing for the country. Or somebody told them, like, and I'm guaranteed these are the same fucking crowd that's like the Free Palestine, even though they don't actually know shit about the actual conflict. They don't understand that Palestinians have literally been kicked out of every fucking Arab nation in the fucking Middle East, not because they're biased or Islamophobic or any of the other shit, because they're also Muslim, but because the Palestinian people are infiltrated and run by Hamas, and Hamas is a fucking cancer everywhere it winds up. And they're so intertwined and inter fucking bred that you can't have one without the other, unfortunately. And it's a pity. And I feel bad for all the people living in shit, because literally the people most terrorized by Hamas are the fucking Palestinians, followed shortly by every fucking buddy else they come across. But I didn't mean to get off on that terror. So yeah, I got all these dumb college age cunts that are out there. He's talking about, yay, Shira law is going to be there and everything's going to be great and they're going to be safe and all this other stupid shit. And they, again, drank the Kool-Aid, believed the lies, dumb motherfuckers. And I keep seeing these videos, and it's mostly about people in Europe are saying, there's 52 fucking Islamic countries in the world. Why the fuck would you come somewhere else? And then, I agree with that. If you think Shira law is so fucking phenomenal, if you think those beliefs are so ideal, go back to the third world shitholes where they're practiced. Because until the fucking Muslims move into town and take over shit, you don't see those in first world countries. You just don't. And there's a reason for it. And people say, oh, well, you're Islamophobic. No, I'm really not. I don't actually hold anything against people that are Islamic as long as they're not militant pieces of shit. The problem is the ones that are non-militant pieces of shit aren't the problem. They're not the ones that are real vocal. They're not the ones that are out there trying to take over city councils and take over fucking villages and implement Sharia law all around the world. Islam is in a lot of ways fundamentally at odds with Western culture, primarily because it does not allow for the existence of other cultures, despite what every fucking apologist will tell you out there. Oh, well, it says this and it says that. There's a concept, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing it terribly, but it's like taqwa. It's the idea that you can not follow tenets of Islam and ideals of Islam when you are involved in trying to infiltrate or trying to impact dealing with non-Islamic individuals. And people say, oh, well, look at Zohan's wife. She's out there wearing shorts and little boots and blah, 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 blah. And she's not wearing a hijab and she's not doing this and she's not doing that. Well, there's a couple things about that. As has been pointed out by multiple people, again, this could be the taqwa thing where they're saying, okay, he's doing this to get into a position of authority and influence before implementing his actual religious beliefs, which is kind of what the concept behind the term is. It's ideals withdrawn from the Quran that say when this is acceptable. It's amongst a lot of the more, how do I say this, extremist individuals that follow the Muslim faith. It is viewed as a tenet where when they are trying to infiltrate societies, they can partake in alcohol or they can partake in eating pork, violating any tenet of Islam as long as it's done with the intention of ultimately bringing down every fucking buddy else. Because the idea is they believe that they will say, okay, this is the case. This is what we're doing. We're only doing it now. And when I stand for judgment, when I'm trying to get my 72 fucking virgins, I'm going to say, well, no, I only did all these things that you said not to because I was doing it to infiltrate. Taquito. I again, Cody, I said my pronunciation is going to be fucking terrible. Whatever. Point being, it's a precept that is established by the religious doctrine and put forth by their leaders as an acceptable policy in order to get yourself into a position of authority or influence. So that's a very real possibility. The other possibility is he's actually more of a commie and less of an Islamic jihadist, which I isn't a fucking improvement as far as I'm concerned. Either way, these dumb cunts, they all voted for something that they think they're going to get. It's not going to happen. And the city's going to fucking burn. And personally, I'm here for it. I feel bad for the people that, voted against it, don't want to leave, don't want to deal with it, and don't have the resources to get the fuck out. I'm very sympathetic towards people who don't have the resources to get the fuck out of their situation, particularly at the moment. But again, that's a whole nother conversation. And but we're gonna put a pin in Zoran right now, which I would be more than happy to put a pin in him if I ran into him. But and we're gonna move over to Minnesota because we discussed this a little bit on the weather review this morning in terms of the little God, I'm blanking on the fucker's name now. Um, but yeah, the little I'm the captain looking motherfucker, Somali piece of shit in Minnesota that was running for mayor. And I'm saying piece of shit because everything he believes and espoused was piece of shit beliefs. It's not that I particularly, again, this is where the fucking liberal retards come. Oh, you're phobic. No, I'm not a phobe. And the same reason I say I'm not Islamophobic and I'm not transphobic because I refuse to kowtow to the people who decide they're going to change what words mean. A phobia is an irrational fear. I'm not afraid of trannies. I don't have an irrational fear about people that follow the Islamic faith. I have a very grounded and based rational fear of militant extremists, and I feel that way not only about Islamic militant extremists, but I also feel that same way about Christian extremists or any other flavor of fucking extremist. Anybody who seems to believe that whatever they want to do to enforce their beliefs on the fucking population, feel I have a rational concern about their intentions and their belief structure. As long as I mean, unless you want to get together with my belief structure and force people to, be left the fuck alone. Yeah. So but yeah. So anyway, back to Minnesota. The fucking I'm the captain looking motherfucker that was up there running for mayor. Yeah, he lost, and thank God for small favors because Somalia is literally a fucking voting block in Minnesota, thanks to the Obama administration, which I had alluded to a couple episodes ago, where Barack took 80,000 fucking Somalis and stuck them there. That's how we got Ilhan Omar, the brother fucker. And she was endorsing the fucking I'm the captain looking son of a bitch. And subsequently, she went out to go out and say, you Somali people that voted against him you betrayed your people. Da, 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 da. You should all be deported. She wants fucking Somalis. She wants the fucking Somalis. She wanted the Somalis who voted against him deported and the reason they voted against him was because of the tribe he was in. It was a tribal division that led to him not getting election because he did not have uniform Somali support. And the other guy, the guy who got elected, who had Tim Walz's endorsement, which had fuck all to do with him getting elected, as far as I'm concerned. And that's probably because Walz is trying to cover his own ass, which, again, we discussed this morning on The View. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the case is that the fucking. So the Somali division, the tribes went against you. So the guy who got elected kind of fostered that, like, hey, he's from this tribe, and I heard you guys, they were bad to you guys back in Somalia, and he encouraged and fostered that division in terms of getting himself elected. So good for him, I guess. I mean, I'm happy to not have a foreign invader holding a fucking seat in office. At the same time, I am not tickled with the idea that this fucking special needs, I'm the captain, fucking burnt turd wrapped in duct tape looking Flavor Flav crackhead motherfucker. He lost. He's got a big head. He's got a little fucking chin. He's got fucking buck teeth, and I hate him, and I hope bad things happen to him simply for having the audacity to sit out there and campaign in Somali. Fuck you. You're in America. You either acclimate or you go the fuck home. And that's the thing. And this is where, oh, you're xenophobic. I'm not xenophobic. I'm not afraid of people from outside of this country. I believe that if you come here because you lived in a third world shithole, you don't bring your third world shithole policies, beliefs, and values with you. You came here to have a better life. So you acclimate to the situation that created those better opportunities. You don't say, no, I expect the better opportunities to acclimate to my shit beliefs and my shit country. You're here. You either want to be an American or get the fuck out. And that brings me to the ICE raids that are still going on in Chicago, that are still going on in areas all around the country. They're still going on in Portland. And, the Antifa fucking movement that's still trying to go against it now. Again, you see the entitledness of the left. You see the woke left. You see these fucking extremist retards. The ones that are leading the party into the case of being socialism. Just, I mean, it all comes back to this whole thing of this movement is getting farther and farther left, and if you're not part of the fucking movement, you are a fucking enemy, and they see you as something that has to be removed, something that has to be destroyed, something that has to be done. Omar's calling to have all the Somalis that voted against this fucking I'm the captain motherfucker deported. Now that brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about, where over the course of the weekend the Senate voted, and finally, some fucking liberals decided to cross the aisle. They got to that 60-40 vote, basically ended the government shutdown. Now, they're doing it under the understanding that they will have a vote to talk about the ACA cuts that need to be extended further to maintain the affordability of the ACA, because people on the ACA will be having their premiums double or even triple. Now, I could do a whole 2 hours on the fucking ACA probably, and I'm not going to do that. But what I am going to point out is the ACA subsidies that they're talking about that are going to be expiring are the ones that were put in place during fucking COVID. So basically, if your rates weren't four times what they're going to be when, or whatever before this, they really shouldn't have been going back. The the extensions are only affecting people that make over $50,000 a year. So a lot of poor motherfuckers aren't going to see anything to do. Is people that are paying their own private rates, they're not going to see their premiums skyrocketing to offset the loss of subsidies, unless the insurance companies want to be painted as these greedy motherfuckers who are saying, well, even though we raised the rates for even then the coverage went down, you still have to keep paying us because we need to make up for all this money that we're losing. Which, oh no, insurance companies would never do that. They're never gonna fucking just blatantly show how greedy and money grubbing they fucking are. Oh, wait a minute. They did that when the ACA was passed. You see, the ACA made coverage mandatory, so it eliminated the fair marketplace and the free trade where people were going to, and then it got everybody put on it. The only thing the ACA did that I agreed with was it removed the prohibitions on pre-existing conditions. Because sometimes you can't help what you got and you still need fucking coverage. So, I mean, that's pretty much as far as my sympathy towards the situation goes. And we have a lot of people out there, and I have a lot of listeners even on the show, and people are going to say, oh, well, you can't just get rid of it. That would, fuck up people's lives and blah, 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 blah. You can't do this. You can't do that. And everybody talking about how, well, people can't lose their insurance because all of a sudden this, that, and the other. If we repeal the ACA, people are going to lose their coverage. And this, again, this will be one of those things where I'm going to be a callous, cold-hearted individual for a few minutes and say, yeah, it's going to happen. But sometimes you got to take a little healthy tissue when you fucking excise a cancer. The ACA is a terrible fucking thing. It set a horrible fucking precedent and allowed the fucking insurance companies to just start raping the American people. The fact that the ACA is unsustainable without massive government subsidies to the tune of $500 billion a year shows that it shouldn't fucking exist. If it cannot function without massive amounts of tax subsidization, it's a bad program. Now, the politicians don't give a shit because it's about kickbacks and making themselves look a certain way. The practicality of it doesn't matter because they have no sense of economic responsibility, no fiscal sense, and they're a bunch of fucking retards. And I hate them all, and I hope bad things happen to each and every last fucking one of them. They are fucking parasites. They are geriatric. They are out of touch with reality. They are out of touch with fucking the common struggles, but they still want to all paint themselves as, oh, well, we're here for you. No, the fuck you're not. You're a bunch of entitled fucking parasites. You're ticks that have gotten so fucking bloated that you couldn't remove yourself from the host if you wanted to, and you don't want to. You want to sit there and suck off the population till either the parents die, or I'm sorry, till either the host dies or the fucking tick bursts, neither of which is a sustainable fucking outcome. Because this is realistically the way the world works. And unfortunately, if we want to excise this problem, we got to be willing to do some fucking harsh shit and then realize that the things are going to reset. If you can go out and say, I don't have insurance, what's the cash rate on this procedure? And it's $200. And then they find out you do have insurance. So they change the bill to 14 fucking hundred. Something's wrong. The system is fucking broken. It doesn't need to be sustained with taxpayer money so we can all have this shit. It needs to be fucking ended so it can be reset. A hard reset is the only thing that's going to fix this fucking problem. And anybody who tells you differently is trying to sell you something that doesn't fucking work. Me, I don't make a dime. So what the fuck's the matter? I'm going to say what I'm going to say. And that's, kind of my two pennies on that. Now, seeing the shutdown coming to a conclusion and being uh, hemmed up and showing a lot of things about this has done one thing that I'm here for. Again, this is one of those things I'm going to say may not necessarily be the most popular take, but I'm going to say it any fucking way because that's what I do. Um, it showed a really interesting dynamic if you're somebody that's like me, if you look at these things from the perspective of kind of like a sociological experiment, if you want to look at this as a case of, well, let's look a little deeper beyond this. Let's study the fucking people behind this shit and see what they have to say about it. If you look at the reactions now that, like I said, 60-40, so like five of the, non-conforming, non-hardliners said enough's enough. Like Fetterman, again, as I've said, often these days showing himself to be the only fucking leftist that's not a complete fucking idiot, and he's a fucking stroke victim. But he said, I'm sorry to the troops and to the fucking public service workers who had to deal with this for all this time. He actually put the citizens of this country ahead of politics, ahead of party, and he's been doing it for a while now. And they finally got some other people that came along and said, okay, this is what we need to do. If you look at the reactions, and again, this is one of those things, social media is not the real world. I feel like sometimes we need to remind ourselves of that because we all have screens on us. We all are looking at this shit way more than is healthy for us. We all are too invested in the opinions of strangers on the fucking internet. But at the end of the day, social media is also a fucking, it's a tool and it can be used to monitor the pulse of the fucking society we're in, particularly the pulse of the really loud vocal fucking people. When in a lot of ways the vocal minority, without social media, the trans movement would never have gotten the fucking traction it had. We wouldn't be talking about fucking, drag queen story time. We wouldn't be talking about people that need to be validated 24/7 simply for fucking existing. Then they found their true selves because they now identify as a fucking mollusk and they have to be oiled 3 times a day so their shell stays moist. We wouldn't have to be dealing with these fucking retards without social media. If we went back to the fucking 90s where you found out your friends by calling them and you just didn't post about every little fucking detail of your life for social media approval and for acceptance of strangers and validation of fucking retards on the other side of the planet, a lot of these social contagions would never be able to get the traction. I mean, fads come and go. Fads have shelf lives. Even this whole trans movement is showing the shelf life of a fad if you look at it from an objective standpoint. Howsoever, there are pictures of me out there with fucked up hair and bangs and shit like that. I lost all my hair, but I didn't have to worry about being part of a fad where I'm going to wake up 20 years from now and go, "Where's my cock?" So it's a matter of perspective, I guess. Calling these social contagions a fad might be oversimplifying things, but in a lot of ways, that's the way it is. So, um, yeah, so there was that, and then but yeah, so the reaction of these leftists in a lot of ways, as soon as the news came out that this vote had passed, they were going to end the filibuster on this and move forward with the process. You get the talking heads, the fucking little political social media fucking parasite pundit troll influencer, whatever the fuck you want to call them, these little fucking shit stains, fucking the Harry Sissons and the fucking Krasenstein brothers and fucking crackhead Brooklyn dad from New York or whatever the fuck his name is, and JoJo from Jersey, that fucking baggy, saggy, filtered fucking cunt. And you get all of the, and every fucking yammering talking head, Dollar Tree Obama, fucking Bernie, fucking AOC, What's her nuts? Amy Klobuchar from fucking Minnesota. Uh, all of these people. Oh my God, they failed us. They betrayed us. They fucking, they sold us out. How dare they cross the aisle? Um, you get, and tons of people all of a sudden calling for Schumer to fucking step down, Schumer to be impeached, Schumer to resign, people to show up at his office, people to start protesting. Chuckles this, chuckles that. You failed as leadership because you caved, you bent the knee to Trump. Literally, all of the fucking mouth breathing retards on the left, the extremist left motherfuckers, these slow minded, slow witted, fast mouthed pieces of shit who get their marching orders and scream them to the fucking heavens like it was the fucking word of God. Go out there screaming this shit without the slightest hint of irony, without the slightest understanding that they literally just acknowledged that everything they spent the last 40 fucking days blaming on that Cheeto dusted fuck muppet. Fuck, I shouldn't have said that because fuck Muppet. I'd like to reserve that for Pritzker, but every once in a while it slips out. I've actually had that happen in conversation when I'm talking about certain people. I don't want to do that. I want that to be special just for fucking JB. But anyway, the Cheeto dusted bastard in DC got blamed for this shutdown every fucking day it happened. You had Chuckle Schumer and fucking Dollar Tree Obama and Pete Buttigieg and fucking AOC and every last one of these leftist fucking retards out there blaming Trump, calling it a Republican shutdown, saying it's the Republicans refuse to do their fucking job. Meanwhile, every fucking one of these assholes voted against passing the CR and continuing Biden era spending. So it's not like they had a problem with the spending. It's that they had more fucking expenses they wanted. They wanted to increase the deficit spending by another 1.6 trillion fucking dollars to fund shit all around the globe, shit that had no benefit for the American people, but still was going to cost us fucking money. And that's why they were holding the fucking American population hostage. That's why they didn't want SNAP to be funded. That's why they didn't want American governmental workers to be getting paid. That's why they wanted the air traffic controllers to have to work for fucking free. Because these fucking greedy, self-serving, sanctimonious, parasitic shits were leveraging the fact that freeloaders weren't going to get their shit. Parasites weren't going to get paid. They didn't care about the vets not getting taken care of. They didn't care about the fucking active duty military not getting paid because they deliberately voted against single item bills that would have taken care of both of those items. They didn't care about the SNAP benefits as much as they were out there screaming about it every fucking day to anyone who would fucking listen that Donald Trump's refusing to feed people. Donald Trump wants hungry people to starve. Donald Trump wants your insurance rates to go through the roof. As they voted no again and again and again on a CR that would continue again, Biden era spending. Expenditures set in place by the last administration that are still in place now because the current fucking session of Congress is a bunch of lazy, worthless motherfuckers that don't do their goddamn job and just keep passing these stupid CRs. They don't pass single item bills. They don't pass single item budget items. They haven't looked at anything resembling a decent budget in fucking years, if not longer. I'm pretty sure the last actual balanced budget was under fucking Bill Clinton. So, yeah, Congress has been failing at their job for fucking decades. And still, these leftist retards, in the name of more power, more money, more corruption, more spending of money that doesn't actually belong to them, held the country hostage for 40 fucking days. Every single fucking day, blaming it on Trump, blaming it on House Republicans, blaming it on Senate Republicans, even though every single Republican, with the one or two exceptions who are people that vote on principle, not fucking party, voted to continue the spending, continue the paying, keep these programs funded. Now they finally cave and pass these things. And all of a sudden, all the Democrats that cross the aisle to vote and pass the resolution are now being labeled as traitors and having caved and bent the knee to Trump and all this other shit again, by all these leftist retards, including retards in the fucking governmental service that are, without the slightest hint of irony or even comprehension, admitting that for the last 40 days, they've been blaming something that was completely in the control of the Democrats on the Republicans and on Trump. Like literally. And saying that they caved and got nothing in exchange. They finally put the American people ahead of the party line, and the left is viewing that as a betrayal. Then they're calling for Schumer to be gotten rid of, and they're calling for all of these fucking people who cross the aisle to be primaried as soon as the next election cycle comes up. Again, not the slightest hint of irony. All they're doing is they're ousting the people who aren't fucking far left enough. These are people that, in any reasonable sense of the word, are already fucking extremists, but they're not extreme enough. And it's a huge indicator of where the fucking country is going at this point, of the way things are going to be just out of fucking whack. Like I said, it's telling, and not a single one of them will admit that they believe this. I mean, they're still going to say the shutdown was a Republicans' fault and it was Trump's fault because they refused to negotiate. They refused to give the fucking left what it wanted. So obviously they're the fucking bad guys, because if they don't completely concede everything they fucking want, they're the problem. Oh, they don't know how to negotiate. They won't come to the table. No, they came to the table multiple fucking times. And the left said, that's not good enough. We want more. We're going to hold this hostage. We're going to tell the entire country and all the entitled freeloading sacks of shit out there that this is your fault, and they're going to blame you and they're going to be mad at you. And unfortunately for the left, this time it didn't fucking work. And it's not like fucking Congress all of a sudden grew a fucking spine. It's not like they sacked up and said, you know what, we're done playing your fucking game. I mean, in a little way they kind of did, but it was mostly because in the last election cycle, it was made pretty clear by the fucking people who voted for Donald Trump that our society writ large is tired of playing these fucking games. They are tired of this bullshit, and if they would have started handing over concessions to get the fucking votes from the fucking left, everybody was getting fucking primaried. It's not, I mean, there's still a really good chance that a lot of fucking Republicans aren't going to have a seat next fucking cycle for multiple fucking reasons. Now, we could go into that too in terms of the ones that are going to be getting primaried because they're not fucking MAGA enough. They're not Trumpy enough. You know, once again, Donald Trump's going after Massey, which I think is fucking disgusting. And the fucking the right cult is all in. Oh well, Massey bad. Him not vote with Trump in lockstep. Him expect answers and da 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 da. He doesn't trust the Donald who's saying that we can't release the Epstein files. Well, even when the Justice Department said, okay, we're going to release things, now it's judges blocking the release of the files, which is something nobody really fucking talks about when these points come up. But the judges are blocking the files now, and all the judges that are blocking the release of the files that the fucking DOJ said they were going to fucking release are like Clinton and Obama era appointed judges that are stopping this shit from happening. So again, people mad about shit they don't understand because they're fucking demagogue, regardless of which side it is, told them to be mad. Now the leftist commie motherfuckers are saying we need to go after Chuckles because he's an ineffective leader. Chuckles doesn't fucking care. Chuckles is 82 fucking years old or whatever the fuck he is now. He's gonna be going the way of the dodo. Him stepping out of the fucking seat of power is long overdue, and it's probably not that big a fucking deal. And speaking of which, Nancy Pelosi will also has announced that she will be retiring and stepping down and not seeking reelection. So good fucking riddance to that fucking saggy cunt. But she, her seat is, it's in California. And this is kind of the last point I'm going to talk about tonight. And yes, Kate, you brought up a good point. Massey did get remarried. He's busy with his new wife. People are giving him shit for that. They're trying to go after him for that, saying, well, it's only been a year since his wife died or 16 months or whatever. And he must have been fooling around in the first place. And this is inappropriate. And he didn't mourn long enough and all this other shit. I am more of the mindset of he says he misses her every day. And that was the love of his life. And maybe he met this girl and maybe she helped heal part of him. Maybe, I mean, for a bunch of people, because a lot of the vitriol I see online is coming out of either sanctimonious low testosterone men or women. A lot of these motherfuckers who probably watch Hallmark movies and fucking chick flicks and say, oh, that's so sweet. That's so romantic. Oh, the single dad whose wife died in a car crash finally met the fucking industrial career woman he's going to open up her heart and they're going to open a fucking Christmas tree ranch in the fucking Northwest. And it's going to be beautiful. Oh, you motherfuckers, you got the audacity to say somebody who found somebody in real life that maybe made him feel a little bit better. And he got involved and got remarried too fucking quickly. Well, to address that, I'm going to bring up I generally try not to throw stats into things because they can be fact checked, and I prefer to have my rants a little more vague and nebulous. And I like, and that's the other thing is I like throwing things out that are going to make you go try and prove I'm wrong because then you go do your own fucking research. You go look shit up and you learn shit on your own. And that's what we need more of. We don't need more people taking Aaron's word for fucking gospel and saying that's right. It's we need people that are going to go out there and say, hey, this asshole says something I don't like. Let me go find something to rebut him so I can make him look stupid. And then maybe you'll learn something in the process and go, hey, maybe this asshole knows what he's talking about after all. But I digress. So we're going to throw out a statistic here real quick, and I don't have the actual fucking numbers in front of me because I forgot, and I had to reboot my computer, and everything I had on the tabs were all closed, and I didn't want to take the time to re-fucking open them because I'm already running behind schedule because I had to reboot the computer because in case you missed the beginning of the show, I sounded like a fucking transformer getting a fucking blowjob, and I don't mean transformers in the kind in San Francisco. I mean as in Bumblebee roll out. Anyway, statistically, men who came from a healthy, well-adjusted, satisfying relationship and women who are in healthy, adjusted, satisfying relationships where they are in like a deep, happy, fulfilling relationship and they lose their partner. Men and fucking women, both sides of this fucking coin, are more inclined to more quickly re enter another relationship because they don't need to heal from the fucking one they just got out of. They look back on it. It's not with rose colored glasses, but it's with an appreciation because they had a functional, healthy fucking relationship. So they're not coming out of it fucking broken goods that need closure. They come out of I mean, there's actual logic behind these statistics that say if you are a man that was in a healthy relationship with a woman you love deeply and she dies, you may move on quicker because you don't need to work through all your fucking trauma and bullshit you didn't get to fucking bury because she was died suddenly and you had all kinds of fucking open wounds because your relationship was fucked. I mean, it's just, I'm sure the smart people would find a better, more comforting way of saying that where it would make sense to more people, but you're not listening to smart people. You're listening to Aaron. And Aaron says it makes sense if you're not a fucking delusional retard. So, yes, Thomas Massey had a healthy, loving relationship. He had three or four grown ass kids with his wife who he loved dearly, who died suddenly. And he moved on and he found some chick that made him happy. And she's, his grandkids were like the ring bearer and the flower girl in their fucking wedding, I think. And I mean, people are saying, oh, well, his kids don't approve of her moving on, him moving on, and she's their age and da da da. Okay, I could have the age conversation after a whole other point, but she's in her 30s. She's not a fucking child, and he's like my age. So, yeah, is it a little? Yeah, probably. And he met her years ago when she was a staffer for somebody else, for Rand Paul, and so obviously, ideologically, they align in a lot of ways. If she's a staffer for Rand Paul and he's fucking him, that's it kind of makes sense that they would click on in a certain manner. And yeah, if he's not working through a bunch of fucking messed up baggage from his wife, of course he's going to be in a better place mentally. He's going to be more well adjusted to move on. It makes perfect sense if you stop and think about it from a logical standpoint for 3 fucking seconds, which is something in society we don't do anymore. We want to fucking cast stones. We want to judge everybody. We want to be sanctimonious pricks. And it's not a political thing at this point. It's a fucking humanity thing. It seems to be in all of our fucking nature to be a judgy bitch about something. Some people just want to find this and bag on him for that. Me personally, I don't fucking care. I care about his politics. I care about him. He's like one of the few constitutional true people in the fucking government we have today. He's more MAGA than most of the motherfuckers paying lip service to the fucking Cheeto because his priority is American priorities first. American priorities only. I can get behind that. Until everybody in this country is fucking living a quality life, until we have an educational system that doesn't pump out fucking retards, until we have a budget that is not putting our grandchildren's children into fucking debt, we shouldn't be sending money overseas. We shouldn't be fostering important relationships by having drag queen story hour in Zambia for a tune of $400 million. None of this shit, and which are real common sense stances as far as I'm concerned, and those seem to be the policies he votes and the way he votes. In terms of policy and legal proceedings, he voted in alignment with the Republicans and in line with Donald Trump 91% of the time. Donald Trump is trying to have him primaried. The fucking MAGA party is trying to say he fucking needs to go because he's a traitor over a 9% variance. I mean, those are like acceptable standards and pretty much anything in the world, apparently, except for the world of politics in America today. It's a fucking disgrace, realistically. And I'm sick of it. Let's see what else. I do actually, just as a footnote to you guys, we'll be recording a guest episode tomorrow. Episode will be dropping on Friday, as is the usual when I have somebody from. This is a woman named Lisa Ekman who reached out to me via the show's email. Wanted to, hey, I think this person would be a great guest spot on here. She wrote a book. And she sent me a little like a sampling of it, so I read through it, and to her credits, because I asked her, I ask everybody who approaches me about being on the show, how did you find my little corner of inequity on the internet? And she was very forthright about, oh, I use an AI search agent, and said AI said we'd make a 10 out of 10 compatible match for having a conversation. So here's the thing: she is a former leftist. She was college educated, grew up in like came up in the system, went through it, got completely disenfranchised by the system after working in it for quite a while. And she wrote this book about it. The book is called Deprogramming Democrats and Uneducating the Elites: How I Escaped the Progressive Cult. Just the sample treatment she gave me of it. It's got the prologue and a little bit of the information out of it, summaries of each chapter. Yeah, I think this woman and I are going to have a really interesting conversation because a lot of what she said, it sounds like a slightly more expensive version of what my journey away from being considered a leftist or left leaning at least. I think it's going to be a real interesting an interesting talk that's going to be coming up. And yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it. Like I said, the episode will post Friday. I'm sure I'll have her social media links or whatever in there because it sounds a lot like at some point, and I think it was COVID that got her, where she woke up and realized all of a sudden, hey, these motherfuckers are basically a cult. Okay, well, it looks like that's going to be about the end of it then. In that case, we're going to put it in there for now. And I'm going to say for now, that's what I had to say.